Good day, viewers. My name is Sonny. I'm the workshop manager of CC&C On Time Services Limited. In this company, we do a lot of vehicle maintenances, general repairs. We do revamp of vehicles, engine overhauling, car upgrade of any kind, models, name it, any car of any type. But today, we have a very interesting topic to treat today, and that is car braking system. So in this very topic, it is a very important one, and in any vehicle, be it a Jeep, SUV, a sedan car, braking system is very, very vital to any vehicle. Okay, so it is very, very important for you to understand your braking system. In so many cases, people have brake failure because they don't seem to understand the initial problem or symptoms the vehicle is giving to them before the brake failure happens. So before any brake failure can occur to any vehicle, I think there are symptoms, there are signs. Just like some vehicle, like recent model vehicles, they will give you some signs on the instrument cluster. Like the ABS light will be beeping, you have some brake system, some noise from the brake. So I advise every car user to always pay attention to their braking system. It's very important because any segment or any part of your vehicle you don't understand, once it comes to brake, if you miss out on any symptom or any sign you're getting, you will have a brake failure. Okay? So in this case, I will show you some certain things so that people understand how the braking system of a car actually works.
Nowadays, an anti-lock braking system is used in almost all modern vehicles. This system prevents accidents like this, where you lose control of the steering as you apply the brakes. With ABS, you will be able to steer the vehicle properly, and it also reduces the braking distance. We first need to understand the principles of steering and braking. When you press the brake pedal, the brake pads on the wheel discs will be activated and press against the discs, and this will stop the rotation of the wheels. As the wheels stop, this causes slippage between the road and wheels, and the vehicle stops due to this friction.
Moving close to this, you can see how my technicians are working now. This is, sorry, give me the brake pad. So as a car user, give me that. As a vehicle user, you should understand what the brake pad is all about. This is the brake pad. These very parts have direct contact with the brake disc. It creates friction, direct friction, okay? So when this happens, when you apply the brake on the pedal, this brake pad have direct contact with the brake disc. And this very reaction happens on the four legs. Front tire right, front tire left, rear tire back, right and left. So this process happens. So in the process when you apply your brake and it doesn't hold, you see that your brake pad is very, very low. And before your brake pad will go low, that'll be an indication. You'll be hearing a screechy sound or squeaky sound from your brake calipers. So when you have such signs, I think I advise you to drive straight to your mechanic for an inspection. Okay, so this is the brake pad, as you can see. This is looking very new. You see the side of the brake pad. So if this is wearing out, it's going to reduce to almost half of this. So at that point, you start having direct contact to the disc, and that is metal to metal. So your brake won't be efficient anymore. So I advise you to always listen to the sound you have from your brake system. When you're having that squeaky sound, that means your brake calipers or brake pads are going low. Another sign I think you should pay attention to is when there's a brake leakage, brake fluid leakage. Because when you apply the brake, that means you're depressing the brake caliper, the brake pedal. So when that process happens, the fluid runs through the whole pipes. In science, they call it pressure in pipe. So when that pressure moves, it comes to the brake pad to push it. So you push it towards the brake disc. Okay, when it happens, you have something like this. It holds it. So when the caliper piston pushes this, it holds the brake. So in a situation when it's pushing and the fluid does not have enough pressure to push this brake pad, you have a brake failure. So whenever you have, open the bonnet, let me show the audience. So when you have your braking system and there's not enough fluid, so that's going to cause a very dangerous brake failure. So, but for that to happen, that means, for a leakage to happen, that means there's a start point. That's what that means, there's a leakage. When you park your car, you see some leakages on the floor. So our advice is always drive into your workshop and check, do an inspection. So when you have leakages in your braking system, that means your fluid, brake fluid, the hydraulic fluid is leaking. And also make sure some vehicles are, the specified brake fluid for every vehicle differs. So for Benz, most Benz, they use D4.4. In some cars, they use .3. So when you look at this very thing, this is a container for brake fluid. So it's calibrated to low and high. Okay, so when the fluid is getting very low, it's very, very dangerous. That means your brake pad is getting low also. So at that point, I think I advise you to drive into your workshop and do an inspection and find out why you're having that leakage. And that has to be sorted immediately, because you don't have to risk your life because of carelessness. So that's it for brake fluid level. And then another thing I want to talk about is the ABS, the anti-brake locking system.
ABS prevents the wheels of the car from locking up when the car applies the brakes suddenly in certain situations. This type of brake allows the driver to have complete control of the car's steering when maximum force is applied to the brake pedal. Generally, when the driver suddenly applies brakes to a moving car, there is a high probability that the wheels will get stuck due to the sudden brake force and slide on the road. This happens because the momentum of the velocity of the car is carried by it, and the wheels are unable to convert it into rotational motion due to the brakes. ABS, or anti-lock braking system, is a piece of safety equipment that prevents the wheels of a vehicle from locking up under emergency, panic, or harsh braking conditions. When braking on wet surfaces during rains, you tend to depress the brake pedal to its full limit and eventually end up locking the wheels. At this point, your car starts sliding straight without directional control.
The function of this ABS is that when you apply your brake, there won't be any slides from one point to another point, no matter what the speed is. So if your car is equipped with ABS, you apply your brake, you see a sudden incident and you want the car to stop at the spot, the car will have the ability to stop immediately. You apply your brake, okay? So, but sometimes, if you give your car to a crack mechanic and you're having a brake problem, you have an ABS issue. Because of the price of the ABS, sometimes they remove the ABS to put something else. They just use direct brake master and servo. So in that case, you won't have efficient braking system. So you won't even trust your braking system anymore, because when you apply your brake, when you're speeding for like 120, 150, and you apply brake at a spot, the car won't stop. The car will still have to slide to some distance. So that means that if there's a vehicle or an object in front of you and you apply your brake, the car will slide and still hit that object. So I always advise, when you have a sign of ABS on your cluster, on your instrument cluster, always drive to your workshop and have your car checked. In CC&C On Time Services Limited, we do all this. We run a general check, we run a general scan to find out what the problem is. Most times we share the fault code with you to understand what your car is going through. You understand? So even when you have a fault code, maybe the next section I will show us how we use our fault code to find a problem with our cars. Even at the comfort of your home, start your home and then check your car and find out what the problem is. So the ABS I'm talking about, so in every wheel there's an ABS sensor. The ABS sensor calculates the speed of the vehicle, relay the speed of the vehicle to the engine control unit. All right, so if this is not functioning properly, In fact, it's going to affect the movement of the car. So this is, for an instance, this is a typical ABS sensor for Mercedes-Benz. This is where it is. So every wheel has it. The front, the back has it on every wheel. So it's inserted inside the hub of a car. Okay. So this is the hub of the car. This is the plate. This is the ABS, and that's the sensor. So sensor reads the movement, rotational speed of the wheels, from front, from back, and in most cases for four-wheel drives.
Let's analyze the steering mechanism at the time of braking. Due to the brake pads being activated, the wheels stop spinning. Even though the wheels are turned, since they are not rotating, there will be no rotational velocity at all. In this case, the vehicle does not need to turn, as this has become like a normal case of braking. The vehicle will no longer react to the driver's changes to the steering and will slide in a straight line, which can cause an accident. Apart from losing control of the steering, cars without ABS face another big issue: braking on surfaces with different levels of traction. When the left and right wheels are on different traction surfaces, applying the brakes will generate different frictional forces on the wheels. This will produce torque, and the car will go into an uncontrollable spin. Let's see how ABS solves these issues. An anti-lock braking system is very simple. What ABS does is to prevent the wheels from completely locking up. The ABS system includes speed sensors attached to all of the wheels. When the sensors detect that a wheel is about to lock up, a modulator unit partially releases the brake pad on that wheel. This way, the wheels will be allowed to spin intermittently during braking. You can immediately see the effect of this intermittent wheel rotation on steering. Here, the wheels will have a rotational velocity component. This will definitely allow the steering to function, and driver will be able to steer the vehicle even during the braking.
There's one more thing I want to draw your attention to, and that is the ABS actuator. So the actuator is a machine that is controlled by the engine control unit. Okay? The actuator works with the ABS sensors. So in every car there are 4 ABS sensors, one on each tire. So it calculates the rotational force of each wheel, and it calculates that also and works with the gearbox of the vehicle, which is transmission. So it's very important you know when your ABS actuator fails. And when that happens, there will be an indication on the cluster showing that there's a problem on the ABS. So when the vehicle is being scanned, the diagnosing tools will show it that there's a problem with the ABS actuator. Conclusively, like I said, the braking system of a car is very vital, very important, and you should, as a car user, you should always know when you're having a braking problem. So, like I said initially, when you're having a brake pad wear, and that happens and you're ignorant of it, it's going to go ahead and affect a lot of things in the car. Like the brake disc will wear out already because the fiber part of the brake pad will wear out first. Then there will be direct contact between the brake disc and the brake pad, and that's going to eat up the brake disc. And when that happens, the brake caliper will now be affected. This is the brake caliper. The pistons of the brake caliper will not pull up too much, too many at a distance that will not be bearable again for the braking system. Okay, and when that happens, you're going to have very bad braking problem. Okay, so when you start having that sound, squeaky sound, and very bad noise from your brakes, always know that there's a problem, and it is very, very dangerous. No one plays with brake. Okay, so this is your caliper. It's very big. The pressure comes from the ABS, from your foot when you apply the brake on the pedal. So this piston comes out, grabs, pushes the brake pad, and when it pushes the brake pad pushes the disc. That is the effectiveness you have in your brake. So when you are not having that effectiveness, that means there's a problem. So it is dangerous for you to be driving a car and you're having these signs and you're not taking it seriously. It is dangerous to your car, it is dangerous to your life. So always have pay attention to the cries on your cars. Okay? Alright, I advise every motorist to always pay attention to their braking system. At least every 10 kilometer mileage that you drive, get your brake system or generally check your car and make sure the braking system is effective. It is important that maybe every 5,000 kilometer mileage that you go for service, at the same time ask your mechanic to inspect your braking system as well. It is very important. And as a car user also, pay attention to instrument cluster, because most of these sophisticated vehicles, they give indication on your cluster if there's a braking problem. So with that, you'll be able to know that I need to pay attention to this braking system. Always check the level of your brake fluid, which is very, very vital. Check the level of your brake fluid. So having the brake fluid at the same normal level will show that at least the braking system is intact. And also I advise you to always pay attention to the sounds from the braking system. When you apply your brake and you're not hearing any sound, that means that there's no problem. But when you're having squeaky sound from your braking system, that means something is wrong. Okay, and it also depends on the age of the car you're using. Okay, if your car is very old, from time to time, every 2 weeks, I think I advise you to have your braking system inspected. As important as the braking system is, I always advise my clients to always approve the OEM brake parts and the most quality brake parts for their vehicles, because it's not advisable for you to use a China-made product for brake pad on a very heavy vehicle. Okay, if the car is like a Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Range Rovers, we use a very fake brake pad. By the time you apply brake and the brake disc gets hot, the friction is very high, and you're going to have a crack on the brake pad. So in that case, you've lost money, you've lost your braking efficiency, and you've also risked your life. So I advise everybody, every car user, be it an old vehicle, be it a new vehicle, always go for the best quality brake pads, brake disc, the calipers. If you're driving a car and you're feeling that your brake caliper is getting hot at all times, that means your calipers need service. You need to bring them to the workshop, get them serviced. It's not proper that you're driving a car. In most cases, you see some car users, when they're driving, their wheels will be smoking. That means the caliper is gripping constantly, and that is very, very bad. It can cause, it can even make your tire to tear. It can cause a burst on the tires. So when you're having that feeling, you're having that smoking rim, that means the brake is gripping. The brake is holding down. In recent times, vehicle producers, automobile companies, they came up with this ABS, anti-brake locking system, to create more efficiency in the braking system of vehicles. In the time past, when vehicles are being driven on muds or sleepy roads, when you apply your brake, you see that the car will slide from one point to another, which is not supposed to be so. So they introduced this ABS system. The actuator is a very big machine, so it makes the car, no matter how the weight of the vehicle is, no matter the speed you're running on, the car will stop. So that's the most recent technologies applied to vehicle braking system, and it's very, very efficient, trusted, it works perfectly, except the local mechanic has altered the system. When they alter this system, they remove the ABS actuator, they apply brake master and the brake servo. So in that case, you won't have 100% braking system anymore. You have like 40%. And most car users may not be able to know because they have not driven up to maybe like 120, 150 and apply brake at the spot. So the difference between ABS equipped vehicle and non-ABS equipped vehicle, the difference is very, very high. The one that contains ABS, that functions with ABS, has very 100% braking system. Okay, and it's very important the ABS is working perfectly well. And also the ABS also works with the transmission of a vehicle. As the car is moving, ABS calculates the speed, rotational speed of the wheels from all wheels, the four wheels, and transmits the information to the ECU. You understand? So everything works together for the car to work better.
The anti-lock braking system has four main components: speed sensors, valves, pumps, and controller. Speed sensors monitor how fast the wheels are rotating. Valves allow to block and release pressure on the brakes. Pumps are filled with hydraulic fluid and apply pressure to the brake drums on demand. The electronic control unit, ECU, is the brain of ABS and uses data from sensors to determine whether to pump the brakes or not. The speed sensors are located on the wheels that monitor the speed of each wheel. When sensors detect that your car's tires begin locking up, the electronic control unit reads the signal from each sensor and sends the signal to the valves of the respective wheel. Then, valves rapidly apply and release the brakes automatically to keep your tires from skidding and helps keep the driver in control of the vehicle. If speed sensors detect that the speed of any of the wheel is reducing drastically compared to others, the ECU sends the signal to the valves of the respective wheel to reduce the brake pressure, and the valves get closed. After this, the wheels start to accelerate again, and the signal is sent to the ECU one more time, which in turn sends the signal to open the valve and increase the brake pressure, and hence, brakes are applied. The cycle repeats itself until the application of brakes becomes normal. So essentially, ABS works in three stages. Brake pedal is pushed. Will sensors detect skidding or locking, ABS pumps the brakes. In a car equipped with ABS, what mostly happens is the system applies the brakes in small pulses to prevent sudden brake locking. That is why you can feel vibrations and juddering at the brake pedal when ABS is activated. When you feel or hear the ABS vibrating, continue to firmly press and hold the brake, then steer to safety.
You don't even need to pump your brake. You just depress your brake pedal and the car stops. That's how it functions. Very effective. Yeah, it's an advanced because you have the sensors on all wheels. So when you apply your brake, this sends a message to the ECU from the front wheel, same thing from the back wheels. So the activation happens at the same time. Because in some cases, okay, if you have a brake system where you have in some cases they will divert caliper. If you have 4 calipers in a car, if one caliper fails, let's say rear right caliper fails, okay, and you take your car to a roadside mechanic, they will cut off one caliper. They will block one side of the caliper and leave you with one. If you're lucky enough, if it's not the front, because most cases when they remove front, block one, when you apply brake, this one is not working, 3 is working, so your car will come swerve to this side. So that means your braking system has been altered. In most cases too, they can even divert more than 2 calipers. You have only 1 caliper functioning. So it's very important, know who you give your cars, know who touches your cars. It's very important, very, very, because if you don't have to risk your life, you know, brake system in a car is very important, and it has to work perfectly well.
Brake Assist, BA, is also known as Emergency Brake Assist, EBA, is another piece of car braking technology. As the name suggests, is responsible to assist the driver in emergency stop situation. The braking system will work more swiftly when there is sudden braking, if it is equipped with the BA feature. This feature, aimed at making sure that the brakes are applied in case of an emergency, if the driver is unable to respond quickly enough. This happens a lot, that in case of sudden braking, the driver is not able to press the brake pedal fully. However, an average driver isn't actually fast enough for a situation like this, where a millisecond of delay can translate to catastrophe. This is where braking assist steps in. With brake assist, the electronics sense the speed and force with which the driver pressed on the brake pedal, and apply additional pressure on the pedal for full braking. A travel sensor attached to the brake pedal that allows the brake assist system to detect when the driver attempts an emergency stop, and regardless of the amount of pressure actually applied, it will apply maximum braking force until the car is brought to a stop. Some more recent braking assistance systems can detect a sudden liftoff from the gas pedal, or receive imminent crash warnings from radar or camera-guided crash detection systems and prime the braking system. That way, when the driver slams the brakes, maximum braking force is available immediately.
So I believe every viewer understands the braking system now, how important it is to make sure the braking system works very well. All right, so in TC&C On Time Services Limited, we do all this. We do car revamp, we do engine overhauling, transmission overhauling, repairs of all kinds. Any model will have the equipment, will have the staff to handle your vehicles. You don't have any fear. So we are at number 3 Babatunde Dabiri Street, Lekki Phase 1. Okay, our handles are on the screen, Instagram, Facebook, everything. You can see it on the screen. So we also thank HIPTV for coming today, and we also see you in the next section. Thank you.